There is a place where time moves differently, where the water holds the last light of day like a secret, and where an old wooden dock stretches out into a quiet lake, as if reaching for peace itself. This is where our story begins, in the gentle hour when afternoon fades into evening and the world takes a long, slow breath. The lake is called Mirror Lake, though no one remembers who named it or when. It sits cradled in a valley in the American heartland, surrounded by low hills covered in oak and maple trees. The town nearby is small, the kind of place where everyone knows the sound of their neighbor's screen door, where the hardware store has been run by the same family for 4 generations, and where the most important news is usually about who caught the biggest bass. Our fisherman's name is Henry Coleman, though most people just call him Hank. He is 73 years old, with silver hair that curls slightly at his collar and hands weathered by decades of honest work. His face is deeply lined, each crease a story, each wrinkle a testament to years spent smiling in the sun and squinting against the wind. He moves slowly now, not from pain, but from a deep understanding that there is no longer any need to hurry. Every evening, just as the sun begins its descent behind the western hills, Hank makes his way down to the dock. He carries a simple fishing rod, a small tackle box painted forest green, and a canvas chair so old and comfortable it seems to have molded itself to the exact shape of his body. The walk from his house takes him exactly 8 minutes, though he has never timed it. He simply knows, the way you know the rhythm of your own breathing. The path to the lake winds through his backyard, past the vegetable garden his late wife Martha planted 40 years ago. He still tends it, growing tomatoes and green beans, though he doesn't need the food. It's the ritual that matters, the continuity. The deer sometimes visit at night, leaving delicate hoofprints in the soft earth, and Hank doesn't mind. There's enough for everyone. Beyond the garden, the path enters a small grove of birch trees. Their white bark glows in the fading light, and their leaves whisper secrets to each other in voices too soft for human ears. Hank has walked this path so many times that his feet know every root, every stone. He could walk it in complete darkness and never stumble. The dock itself is a simple structure built 50 years ago by Hank and his 3 brothers during one long, hot summer. They used cedar planks and iron nails, and they built it to last. Every few years, Hank replaces a board or 2, maintaining it the way you might maintain a friendship, with attention and care. The wood is gray now, silvered by sun and water, smooth as silk under bare feet. At the end of the dock, there's a post for tying boats, though Hank's small rowboat usually rests upside down on the shore. Carved into that post, in letters worn but still legible, are initials HC plus MR. He carved them there during their first summer at the lake, when they were young and Martha was still Martha Riley before she became Martha Coleman. He runs his fingers over those letters sometimes, feeling the grooves, remembering. This evening, like so many evenings before, Hank sets up his chair at the dock's edge. The chair's canvas is faded from blue to a soft gray blue, the color of distant mountains. He positions it just so, where the dock boards are most even, where he can rest his feet on the lower crossbeam. This is his spot, his place, and settling into it feels like coming home, even though home is just a short walk behind him. He opens the tackle box with the kind of reverence some people reserve for opening books or jewelry boxes. Inside, everything has its place. The lures are organized by type: silver spinners that flash like tiny fish, soft plastic worms in colors that no real worm has ever been, and his favorites, the wooden lures his father carved by hand. Each wooden lure is a small work of art, painted with patient detail, sealed with care. Hank's father had big, rough hands, but they could create things of surprising delicacy. Today, he chooses a wooden lure painted to look like a small perch, green and gold with a dark stripe along its side. He ties it to his line using a knot his grandfather taught him, one of those knots that seems complicated but becomes automatic after you've tied it 1,000 times. The movements are soothing, each loop and pull a small meditation. The water before him is absolutely still, a perfect mirror reflecting the sky. This is the hour photographers call the golden hour, when the light becomes honey-colored and soft, when everything it touches seems blessed. The sky is a gradient of colors, deep blue overhead, fading to turquoise, then to peach, then to the warm gold of melted butter. A few clouds drift lazily, reflecting pink on their undersides. Across the lake, perhaps a quarter-mile away, the far shore is a dark line of trees. Somewhere in those trees, an owl is waking up, though Hank won't hear it call for another hour or so. Somewhere in those trees, a deer is bedding down in the soft grass. Somewhere in those trees, the forest is conducting its eternal business of growing and living and being, patient and unhurried. Hank casts his line. The motion is smooth, practiced, almost unconscious. The lure arcs through the air, carrying the line with it in a graceful curve. It lands with the gentlest plop, sending circular ripples spreading outward across the glassy surface. The ripples move in perfect circles, growing wider and wider until they're so faint they disappear, and the water returns to stillness. He reels in slowly, letting the lure swim through the water with a slight wobble, the way a tired minnow might swim. He's not really fishing for dinner. The freezer at home has plenty of fish already, vacuum sealed in neat packages, each one labeled with the date and location where it was caught. He's fishing for the fishing itself, for the rhythm of cast and retrieve, for the possibility that lives in each cast. A dragonfly visits, hovering near Hank's shoulder like a tiny helicopter. Its wings are transparent with veins of gold, and its body is the blue of summer skies. It hovers there for a long moment, regarding him with compound eyes that see the world in ways humans never will, then darts away across the water, too fast to follow. The lake holds sounds the way a concert hall holds music. A fish jumps somewhere to the left, a small splash followed by the lighter sound of its body slapping back onto the surface. Hank doesn't turn to look. He heard the splash, knows it was a bluegill, probably 8 inches long, feeding on insects. The bluegills are always hungry in the evening when the mayflies begin to hatch. Minutes pass, though Hank doesn't count them. Time is different here. The sun continues its slow descent, and the light continues to soften and warm. His breathing slows to match the pace of the evening, each breath deep and easy. There's no tension in his shoulders, no worry in his mind. This is the gift of the dock, of the water, of this ritual he's practiced for so many years. He casts again. The line whistles softly through the air. The lure lands with another gentle plop. The ripples spread. The water returns to calm. This is the rhythm of evening fishing. Cast, retrieve, breathe. Cast, retrieve, breathe. It's a rhythm older than cities, older than clocks. A rhythm that connects him to countless fishermen across countless years, all of them standing or sitting at the water's edge, all of them waiting, all of them at peace. The water has its own memories, older and deeper than any human could hold. If you could listen the way the lake listens, if you could remember the way water remembers, you would know every storm that has passed overhead, every drought that has shrunk the shoreline, every spring when the water rose high and cold with snowmelt from the distant hills. Hank knows some of the lake's history, the human parts of it anyway. His grandfather used to fish here when the trees along the shore were younger and smaller. Back then, there was no dock, just a muddy bank where you cast from shore and hoped your line wouldn't snag on the weeds. His grandfather would bring young Hank here on summer mornings, both of them barefoot, both of them squinting against the early sun dancing on the waves. The tackle box Hank carries now belonged to that grandfather. The green paint has worn away at the corners, showing the bare metal underneath, and the hinges are loose, but it still closes with a satisfying click. Inside the lid, there's a small black and white photograph protected by a piece of scratched plastic. The photograph shows a young man holding up a huge pike, smiling proudly at the camera. That young man was Hank's grandfather at age 25. The pike weighed 17 pounds. It was the biggest fish anyone in the family had ever caught, and the photograph has traveled in this tackle box ever since. Hank casts again, and as the lure flies through the air, he thinks about his own grandson, Tyler. Tyler is 12 years old now, living 3 states away, and visits only occasionally. When he comes, Hank brings him here to the dock, trying to pass down what was passed to him. Tyler is patient and polite, and he holds the fishing rod the way Hank shows him. But Hank knows the boy would rather be looking at the phone in his pocket. There's no judgment in this thought, just observation. The world changes. Each generation finds peace in different places. Perhaps Tyler will discover his own dock someday, his own stretch of water where time moves differently. Or perhaps his peace will come from somewhere Hank cannot imagine, something involving screens and connection to people hundreds of miles away. That's all right too. The sun has dropped lower now, touching the tops of the western hills. The light has gone from gold to amber, and the shadows are growing long and soft. In this light, everything looks gentler, more forgiving. The old tackle box looks beautiful. The worn boards of the dock look beautiful. Even Hank's weathered hands, spotted with age, look beautiful in this kind light. Something tugs at the line, just a small tap-tap. Hank doesn't set the hook, just keeps reeling at the same steady pace. It was a curious fish, probably a small bass, coming to investigate the lure. It decided at the last moment not to strike. That's all right. They're all part of the evening, the fish that bite and the fish that don't. Martha used to come down here with him sometimes, back before her illness. She didn't fish, but she would sit on the dock with a book, her feet dangling in the water, reading while Hank cast and reeled. Every so often, she would read a passage aloud, something beautiful or funny or interesting, and they would talk about it for a while before returning to their separate, peaceful activities. He misses that. He misses the sound of her turning pages. He misses the way she would say, "Listen to this," before reading aloud. He misses the particular quality of companionship that needs no words, the shared space of two people comfortable enough with each other to simply be. But the grief is different now than it was in the first year after she passed. The sharp edges have softened. The pain has become something more like a deep ache. And even that ache has become a familiar companion, something that connects him to the love they shared. He doesn't want the grief to go away entirely because it's made of the same substance as the love. And the love was real and good and worth remembering. The water has turned from mirror to something more complex, more alive with color. The reflected sky is now streaked with pink and orange, and the surface has developed the smallest texture, tiny ripples moving across it, like thoughts moving across a mind. The evening breeze has arrived, as it does every evening at this hour, a breath of cooler air sliding down from the hills. This breeze carries scents with it, the green smell of the lake itself, algae and water plants, and clean water, the sharp scent of pine from the trees on the north shore, something sweet and light that might be honeysuckle blooming somewhere nearby, and underneath it all, the rich scent of earth, of growing things, of the valley holding the lake in its gentle grip. Hank breathes it all in slowly, letting the scents fill his lungs. His doctor told him last month that his health is good, remarkably good for a man his age. The doctor asked what his secret was, and Hank almost said fishing, but realized how silly that would sound. Instead, he said something about staying active and eating vegetables from the garden. But the truth is, this dock, this water, these evenings, they're medicine of a kind no prescription can match. He casts again, and the lure soars out over the darkening water. The motion is the same as it's been for 50 years, but his body is different. His shoulder doesn't have the strength it once did. The cast isn't as long as it used to be, but that's all right. The fish are everywhere, not just in the distant water. There's no need to cast far when you're fishing for peace rather than necessity. A family of ducks paddles by, about 30 feet from the dock. There's the mother, her brown feathers beautifully mottled, and 5 ducklings following in a line. They're larger now than when they hatched in early spring, almost fully grown, but they still follow their mother in that same obedient line. Hank watches them pass, their passage leaving V-shaped wakes on the water that slowly spread and fade. The mother duck knows him. He's been here every evening of her life, and her mother's life before her. He's part of the landscape to her, no more threatening than the dock itself. She doesn't veer away as they pass, doesn't quicken her pace. The ducklings, though, eye him with young wariness, not quite convinced yet that this tall, still figure is harmless. As the ducks disappear around a bend in the shoreline, Hank notices the first star appearing in the east. Not actually a star, he knows, but Venus, bright and steady. When he was younger, he knew all the constellations, could point out planets, and name the bright stars. That knowledge has faded somewhat, but Venus he still recognizes, faithful in the evening sky. The light is fading faster now, draining from the sky the way water drains from a bathtub, slowly at first, then more quickly. The hills across the lake have become silhouettes, dark shapes against a darkening sky. The details have vanished. Individual trees no longer visible, just the general shape of the forested ridge. Hank reels in for what he knows will be his last cast of the evening. Soon, it will be too dark to see the lure land, too dark to fish effectively. He could bring a headlamp, could fish into full darkness, but he never does. The evening fishing ends when the evening ends. There's a rightness to that, a respect for natural rhythms. This final cast is always special, blessed with a kind of finality. The lure flies out, a darker shape against the darkening water, and lands with its familiar gentle splash. As he begins to reel in, something strikes hard. The rod bends, its tip pulling down toward the water, and Hank feels the electric thrill run up the line, through the rod, into his hands. A fish, a good one by the feel of it. The line cuts through the water, making a sound like fabric tearing, and the fish runs deep, taking line from the reel with a satisfying zzz sound. Hank's heart rate picks up just a little. After all these years, after all these fish, there's still that spark of excitement, that connection to something wild and alive. He lifts the rod tip gently, maintaining tension, not fighting the fish, but guiding it, patient. The fish runs left, and Hank follows with the rod, keeping the line tight, but not too tight. Too much pressure, and the line will snap, or the hook will tear free. Too little, and the fish will throw the hook with a violent shake of its head. This is the dance, the conversation between fisherman and fish. A dialogue conducted through the medium of line and water. The light is very low now. The world caught in that brief moment between day and night, when colors fade and everything becomes shades of blue and gray. The water is dark, and Hank cannot see the fish yet, can only feel it through the line, can only imagine its panicked swimming, its confusion at the strange pressure in its mouth. The fish runs right, and then dives deep again. Hank can feel the pattern, can read the fish's intentions through the vibrations in the line. This is a bass, he's almost certain. Probably a largemouth, maybe 3 pounds, maybe a little more. It's fighting well, using the weight of its body, the strength of its tail. Minutes pass in this way, the fish taking line, Hank recovering it, back and forth like a conversation. His arms are tired. He's not as strong as he used to be, but he knows how to let the rod do the work, knows how to use leverage and angle rather than pure strength. This is wisdom, the kind that comes only with experience. Gradually, inevitably, the fish tires. Its runs become shorter. The time between its surges becomes longer. Hank reels steadily, gaining line with each turn of the handle. The fish is coming up now, rising from the deep water. He can feel the change in resistance, the way the pull becomes lighter as the fish rises. And then he sees it, a dark shape in the dark water, coming closer to the surface. Another few seconds, and it breaks the surface, thrashing, sending spray into the air that catches what little light remains. It's a bass, just as he thought. A beautiful largemouth with a dark lateral line and a wide, surprised-looking mouth. Hank guides it closer to the dock, carefully, until it's alongside. He sets the rod down, the tip still bent, and kneels slowly on the dock, reaching into the water. His fingers find the fish's lower jaw, gripped gently but firmly. This is called lipping a bass, using its own anatomy to hold it still. He lifts it from the water, supporting its weight with his other hand under its belly. The fish is magnificent in the failing light. Its scales are like armor, overlapping and perfect, colored in shades of green and olive and gold. Its eye is large and dark, regarding him with what seems like ancient wisdom. The fish is alive in his hands, its heart beating fast, its gills working, strong and wild and real. For a moment, Hank simply holds it, admiring. He has no scale to weigh it, no measure to determine its length, and he doesn't need these things. The fish is exactly what it is, and that is enough. 3 pounds, perhaps a little more, a good fish, a worthy fish. He works the hook free, gently. It's lodged in the corner of the mouth, the best place, causing minimal damage. The hook comes free easily, and the fish gives a strong thrash in his hands, eager to return to its element. Hank lowers it back to the water, holding it upright, letting water flow through its gills, giving it time to recover. He can feel the moment when the fish regains its strength. It becomes heavier in his hands, more solid, more ready. He opens his hands, and the fish hangs there for a second, suspended between captivity and freedom. And then, with a powerful thrust of its tail, it disappears into the dark water, leaving only ripples behind. Hank sits back on his heels, breathing a little hard from the exertion and the excitement. His hands are wet and smell like fish and lake water, a smell he's always liked, clean and wild. He wipes them on his jeans, then slowly stands, feeling his knees complain, and returns to his chair. The fish is gone, back to whatever mysterious life it leads under the water. Perhaps it will remember this encounter, though probably not. Its memory is short, designed for immediate survival rather than long contemplation. But Hank will remember. This fish will join the hundreds of others in his memory, each one unique, each one a gift. There's a philosophy in catch-and-release fishing that Hank has come to understand more deeply as he's aged. It's about the encounter, not the possession. It's about the brief connection with something wild, the moment of holding a living creature in your hands and then choosing to let it go. There's generosity in it, and humility, an acknowledgement that the fish belongs to itself, not to you. The sky has faded to deep twilight now, that particular shade of blue that seems to contain all other colors. The first true stars are emerging, not just Venus, but others, pinpricks of light in the deepening darkness. The Big Dipper is visible over the northern hill, and Orion is beginning to rise in the east. Though only his belt is clear yet, Hank begins the small ritual of packing up. He reels in the remaining line, checks the lure for damage. It's fine, the paint not even scratched, and returns it to its place in the tackle box. He collapses the fishing rod to its travel length, 4 feet instead of 7. He folds the canvas chair, which resists slightly, its joints stiff but still functional. Before he leaves, he stands for a moment at the dock's edge, looking out over the darkening lake. The water has become mysterious in the twilight, no longer a mirror, but something deeper, something with secrets. Small sounds carry across its surface. A fish jumping, a frog beginning its evening song, the quiet lap of tiny waves against the shore. This moment, this pause at the end of the evening, is important. It's a moment of gratitude, of acknowledgement. Gratitude for the lake, for the dock, for the fish, for the privilege of another day, another evening, another hour of peace. He doesn't say this aloud, doesn't formalize it into prayer, but the feeling is there, deep and true. A bat flies past, so close he feels the air move against his face. It's hunting insects in the twilight, using its extraordinary echolocation to navigate a world humans can barely perceive. It darts and swoops with impossible precision, and then it's gone, vanished into the gathering darkness. Hank picks up his gear and begins the walk back to the house. The path is darker now, but his feet know the way. The birch trees are pale ghosts in the dusk, and the garden is a dark rectangular shape against the darker grass. His house sits on a small rise, its windows glowing with the warm light he left on inside. The house is small, built in the 1950s in the simple style of that era. A rectangle with a gabled roof, wood siding painted white, a front porch just wide enough for 2 chairs. It's not fancy, but it's solid, well-maintained, paid off years ago. The mortgage burning party, Martha had insisted on actually burning the final payment in the fireplace, was one of the happiest days of their marriage. Hank climbs the 3 wooden steps to the back door, sets his fishing gear on the porch bench, and enters the kitchen. The screen door closes behind him with its familiar whap, a sound so associated with home that he hardly hears it anymore. Inside, the air is cooler than outside and smells of the coffee he made this morning, and faintly of the lemon cleaner he uses on the counters. The kitchen is organized with the precision of someone who lives alone and knows where everything is. Pots hang from hooks on one wall. The dish drainer holds a single plate, a single bowl, a single glass from lunch. The refrigerator hums its quiet song. On the windowsill above the sink, there's a small jade plant Martha started from a cutting, and Hank waters it every Sunday, keeping it alive out of love for her memory. He washes his hands at the sink, the water running warm and then hot. The smell of fish and lake washes away, though he doesn't mind the smell. It's just that the rest of the evening requires clean hands. He dries them on a towel that hangs from the oven door, faded and soft from countless washings. Dinner is simple, because dinner is always simple now. He takes leftover meatloaf from the refrigerator, a slice of tomato and cucumber from the garden, some bread. He arranges it all on a plate with the care of someone who believes that even a meal for one deserves to be properly presented. Martha taught him that. She said that eating off paper plates or standing at the counter was giving up on civilization. And even though he's alone now, he maintains the standards she set. He carries the plate to the small dining table, which sits in an alcove with windows looking out toward the lake. You can't see the lake from here, the trees are too thick, but you know it's there, and that's enough. The table has 2 chairs, though Hank uses only one. The other chair holds the day's newspaper, still unread, and a library book about the history of the Great Lakes. He eats slowly, chewing carefully. His dentist is always pleased at how well he's maintained his teeth, all of them still his own, except for one molar extracted decades ago. He attributes this to good genes and regular brushing, but also to a lifetime of eating real food, things that require actual chewing, nothing too processed or soft. While he eats, he looks out the window at the darkening sky. Full night has arrived now, and the stars are becoming brilliant. There's no light pollution here, so far from any city, and on clear nights like this, the Milky Way is visible as a pale river of light across the sky. When Tyler visited last, Hank took him outside after dark and pointed out the Milky Way, explaining that it was their galaxy seen from inside. Tyler had been impressed, momentarily distracted from his phone, and they'd stood together in the darkness, looking up. After dinner, Hank washes the single plate, the single fork and knife, and sets them in the drainer. He wipes down the counters and the table sweeping the few crumbs into his hand and throwing them out the back door for the birds to find in the morning. These small rituals of cleaning are meditative, each action performed with full attention. The living room is small and comfortable. There's a couch he and Martha picked out 30 years ago, its cushions now molded to their preferred sitting positions. There's a television that he watches occasionally, usually nature documentaries or baseball games. There's a bookshelf filled with a mix of fiction and history, and books about fishing and nature. And there's Martha's chair, a wingback covered in fabric printed with small flowers, which he's never been able to bring himself to sit in. He settles onto the couch with the library book about the Great Lakes. It's fascinating in the way that good history is fascinating, full of details about the formation of the lakes during the last ice age, the native peoples who lived along their shores, the European exploration and settlement. He reads for an hour, completely absorbed, the only sound the ticking of the clock on the mantel and the occasional creak of the house settling. At 9 o'clock, he sets the book aside and makes his evening rounds. This is another ritual, checking that all is secure before bed. He goes to the front door and confirms it's locked. He checks the back door, tests it to make sure. He turns off the kitchen light, but leaves on the small lamp in the hallway, a nightlight for navigating if he wakes in the darkness. He checks the thermostat, though it's been set to the same temperature for years and never changes on its own. In the bedroom, he changes into pajamas, actual pajamas, not just old t-shirts, because Martha had said that pajamas help signal to your brain that it's time for sleep. The bedroom is simple and clean, the bed made with precision every morning, the curtains drawn against the night. Before getting into bed, he crosses to Martha's dresser. Her brush is still there, a few strands of her gray hair still caught in the bristles. Her reading glasses rest beside a small jewelry box. He doesn't touch these things, just looks at them, acknowledging her absence and her presence simultaneously. On his own dresser, there's a photograph in a silver frame. Hank and Martha on their wedding day, young and impossibly happy, standing in front of a church he can't remember the name of anymore. He was 23, she was 21. They looked like children playing dress-up, but they weren't children. They were young adults stepping into a life together, and they did it well, with love and patience and commitment. He gets into bed on his side, the right side, leaving the left side empty, as he has for the last 3 years. The sheets are cool and clean. He changes them every Sunday, and the pillow is perfectly positioned. He turns off the bedside lamp, and darkness fills the room. But it's not complete darkness. Through the window, starlight filters in, faint but real. His eyes adjust, and he can make out the shapes of furniture, the rectangle of the doorway, the pale square of the mirror on Martha's dresser. Outside, he can hear the night sounds, crickets singing their endless song, a distant owl finally calling, the rustle of leaves as some small creature moves through the garden. His body relaxes into the mattress, each muscle letting go. This is the gift of physical work and outdoor living, this easy descent into rest. His mind, too, begins to quiet. The thoughts that crowded it during the day, small worries about bills or health or whether he needs to call Tyler, all these fade into insignificance. He thinks instead about the fish, that final catch of the evening, He can still feel its weight in his hands, can still see its dark eye regarding him. He wonders where it is now, whether it has found some underwater cover where it feels safe, or whether it's hunting smaller fish in the shallows. The lake is full of mysteries, full of life that continues unseen in the darkness. His breathing deepens, slows. The boundary between waking and sleeping becomes blurred. He's still aware of the room, the bed, the night outside. But these things are becoming distant, less important. Sleep is approaching like a gentle tide, and he welcomes it. In the space between waking and sleeping, Hank finds himself on the dock again, but everything is different. The light is strange, luminous, without source, and the water is impossibly clear. He can see all the way to the bottom, 30 feet down, and the bottom is not mud, but smooth stone covered in waving plants like an underwater forest. He looks down and sees that he's young again, his hands smooth and strong. There's no ache in his knees, no stiffness in his back. He's 30 years old, maybe younger, in the prime of his strength. This doesn't surprise him. Dreams have their own logic, and in this logic, he can be any age he chooses. Martha is there, sitting on the dock with her feet in the water, just as she used to. But she's not reading. She's looking at him and smiling, and her smile contains everything. Their history together, their love, their private jokes, their shared sorrows. She's younger too, the age she was when they first came to this lake, before time marked them both. "It's beautiful today," she says, and her voice is exactly as he remembers it, warm and slightly husky, the voice that used to wake him every morning saying his name. "It's always beautiful," he replies, and sits down beside her. The dock is warm under him, warmed by a sun he cannot see but can feel. Their shoulders touch, and the contact is electric and familiar all at once. Below them, in the clear water, fish swim in lazy circles. Bass and bluegill, perch and pike, all coexisting peacefully in this dream lake where nothing hunts and nothing fears. They move like thoughts, appearing and disappearing, beautiful and free. "Do you remember the first fish we caught here?" Martha asks. He does remember. It was a small bass, barely a pound, but it had seemed enormous to them because it was theirs, caught from their lake beside their house. They'd kept it and cooked it that evening, and it had been delicious in the way that first achievements are always delicious. "I remember everything," he says, and it's true. In the dream, his memory is perfect. He can recall every fishing trip, every conversation on this dock, every evening when they sat together as the sun went down. The memories are vivid and sharp, not faded by time. A boat appears on the water, though there was no boat a moment ago. It's the rowboat from the shore, but it's floating itself to them, moving without oars. It comes alongside the dock and stops, waiting. "Should we go out?" Martha asks. In waking life, Hank rarely takes the boat out anymore. It seems like too much effort for one person. But in the dream, it seems like the most natural thing in the world. He stands, and his movement is effortless, fluid. He helps Martha into the boat, though she doesn't need help, and then steps in himself. The boat doesn't rock or wobble. It's steady as stone. They drift out onto the lake, though neither of them is rowing. The shore recedes slowly, the dock becoming smaller, the house on the hill becoming a distant white shape. They're moving toward the center of the lake, where the water is deepest. where the secrets are kept. The water around them is still clear, and now Hank can see that the bottom is covered with objects. Not trash or debris, but things from his life. There's his grandfather's first tackle box, the one before the green one. There's the baseball glove he had as a boy. There's the car he drove in high school, sitting on the lake bottom as if parked there, its chrome gleaming. Everything goes into the water eventually, Martha says. Everything becomes memory. He understands what she means. These objects are not really here. They're memories that have sunk into the deep places of his mind, preserved there like artifacts, unchanged by time. He can visit them when he wants, bring them up to examine them, then let them sink back down. The boat stops in the exact center of the lake, though there's no anchor and no oars. They're just stopped, suspended, the water around them like glass. Above, the sky is full of stars, more stars than any real sky could hold, a dome of light surrounding them. It's good that you come to the dock every evening, Martha says. It keeps you connected. Connected to what? He asks, though he already knows the answer. To everything, to the water, to the past, to yourself, to me. She reaches out and takes his hand, and her hand is solid and warm and real. In the dream, she's not dead. In the dream, she's simply here, present, as real as the water and the stars and the boat beneath them. I miss you, he says, and his voice breaks slightly. I know, she says gently, but I'm not really gone. I'm in the dock you sit on. I'm in the garden you tend. I'm in every cast you make, every fish you catch and release. I'm in the ritual. Below them, the objects on the lake bottom begin to glow softly, each one emitting a gentle light. The baseball glove glows. The old car glows. His grandfather's tackle box glows brightest of all. The lake is full of light now, lit from below, and the light rises up through the clear water like dawn coming from the wrong direction. The water remembers everything, Martha says, and so do you. That's what makes us human. We carry our loves forward. We honor them by continuing. The boat begins to move again, drifting slowly back toward shore. The objects on the bottom fade back into darkness, their light withdrawing like a tide going out. The stars above seem to lower, coming closer, until Hank feels he could reach up and touch them. Will I see you again? He asks. Every time you close your eyes, she says. Every time you sit on the dock, every time you remember. I'm always there, Hank. Love doesn't end. It just changes form. The dock is approaching now, growing larger. He can see the house on the hill, its windows glowing with warm light. He can see the path through the birch trees, pale and inviting. Everything is calling him home, calling him back to the waking world. The boat touches the dock with the softest bump, and Martha stands. She's glowing now, too, lit from within, and she's so beautiful it makes his heart ache. She leans down and kisses his forehead, and her lips are warm and soft and real. Good night, my love, she whispers. Sleep well. The lake will be here tomorrow, and the next day, and all the days after. And so will I. She steps onto the dock and begins to walk toward the shore. With each step, she becomes more transparent, more like mist, until by the time she reaches the birch trees, she's just a shimmer in the air, and then she's gone. Hank sits in the boat alone, but he doesn't feel alone. The lake surrounds him, patient and kind. The stars watch over him. The night holds him gently. And somewhere in the deep water, He knows that base is swimming, carrying on with its mysterious life. And tomorrow evening, he'll cast for it again. And that's exactly as it should be. When Hank wakes, the room is filled with early morning light, soft and gray, the color of dove feathers. For a moment, he lies still, holding on to the remnants of the dream. He can still feel Martha's hand in his, can still hear her voice saying that love doesn't end. The dream is fading now, the way dreams do, becoming less vivid, less detailed, but the feeling of it remains, warm and comforting. He rises slowly, sits on the edge of the bed, gives his body time to wake up fully. His knees complain as they always do in the morning, but not too badly. The complaint is familiar, almost friendly. This is what 73 feels like, he thinks. Not young, not old, just lived in. The morning routine is as fixed as the evening one. Bathroom first, then the kitchen. He starts the coffee maker, that wonderful machine that grinds the beans and brews the coffee all at once, filling the kitchen with an aroma that means morning more than anything else. While it brews, he takes his medications, a small pill for blood pressure, a vitamin D supplement because the doctor says everyone in this latitude needs it, and a baby aspirin for his heart. He pours coffee into his favorite mug, the one with the base painted on it, a gift from Martha for his 50th birthday. The first sip is always the best, hot and strong and slightly bitter. He drinks it black, no sugar, no cream. This is coffee the way his grandfather drank it, the way working men have always drunk it. Through the kitchen window, he can see the garden. The tomato plants are heavy with fruit now, some green, some ripening to red. The bean poles are covered with climbing vines. Everything is covered in dew, each drop catching the morning light like tiny prisms. A rabbit is at the far edge of the garden, eating clover, and Hank watches it for a moment before tapping on the window. The rabbit's head comes up, ears swiveling, and then it hops away in that distinctive rabbit gait, not hurried, just cautious. He carries his coffee to the front porch and sits in one of the two chairs there. The porch faces east toward the sunrise, and though the sun hasn't crested the hills yet, the sky is brightening, going from gray to pale blue to that particular shade of morning gold. A few early birds are singing, robins mostly, and a cardinal somewhere in the maple tree. This is his thinking time, these early morning minutes with coffee and the coming dawn. His mind is clear now, refreshed by sleep and the dream of Martha. He thinks about the day ahead. It's Wednesday, which means he'll drive into town for groceries. He needs milk, bread, some chicken for dinner. Maybe he'll stop at the hardware store, see if Bill has that particular weight of fishing line he prefers. The town is 5 miles away, small enough that you can walk from one end to the other in 15 minutes. It has everything necessary: a grocery store, a hardware store, a post office, a bank, a diner where the coffee is terrible, but the company is good. Most of the people Hank's age have either died or moved away to be closer to their children, but there are a few left, and they gather at the diner on weekday mornings to drink that terrible coffee and complain about politics and weather and their various ailments. Hank goes sometimes when he wants human conversation, but not every day. He's learned that he doesn't need constant company. The solitude of the house and the lake suits him. But too much solitude isn't good either, and the weekly trip to town, the occasional breakfast at the diner, these things keep him connected to the wider world. The sun breaks over the eastern hills, and suddenly everything is illuminated. The dew on the grass sparkles, the leaves of the maple tree shine, the white paint of the house seems to glow. This is the magic hour when the world is made new again, when everything is possible. Hank finishes his coffee and goes inside. Breakfast is oatmeal with brown sugar and walnuts, orange juice, another cup of coffee. He eats at the kitchen table, reading yesterday's newspaper that he never got to. The news is mostly bad, as news tends to be. Political arguments, violence somewhere far away, economic troubles. He reads it all, staying informed, but he doesn't let it weigh on him too heavily. The world has always had troubles, and probably always will, and he can't fix them from here. After breakfast, he dresses for town. Clean jeans, a button-up shirt, a belt, his good shoes instead of the sneakers he wears around the house. He looks at himself in the bathroom mirror, an old man, no denying it, but reasonably well preserved, clean-shaven, hair combed. He looks respectable, and that matters. The truck is a 20-year-old Ford, dark blue, with over 200,000 miles on it. It runs perfectly because Hank has maintained it meticulously, changing the oil every 3,000 miles, replacing parts before they fail. The mechanic in town says this truck will outlive them both, and Hank believes him. The drive to town takes him past farms and forests, small houses and trailers, the occasional horse in a field. The road is familiar to the point of invisibility. He could drive it in his sleep. Other vehicles are rare on this road. He passes a school bus going the other direction, heading out to pick up children from the scattered rural houses. He waves to the driver, who waves back. Town appears gradually, first scattered houses, then closer together, then the main street with its brick buildings. He parks in front of the grocery store, in a spot marked for seniors. This embarrassed him at first, accepting that designation, but Martha had told him not to be silly, that he'd earned the privilege of parking close. Inside, the store is cool and bright. He takes a cart, though he won't need much, and begins his circuit. The produce section first, where he selects tomatoes even though he has plenty at home. These are for variety, different kinds than he grows. Then to the meat counter, where he asks for chicken breasts, and the butcher, a young man named Carlos, wraps them with care. "How's the fishing, Mr. Coleman?" Carlos asks. "Good," Hank says. "Caught a nice bass last evening." "Keeper?" "Released it. They all go back now." Carlos nods approvingly. He's a fisherman too, goes out on his days off with his kids. Hank has seen them at the lake sometimes, 3 small children with 2 big life jackets, laughing and splashing while Carlos patiently untangles their lines. Hank continues through the store, picking up milk, bread, coffee, a few other staples. At the checkout, the cashier is Jenny, who's been working here for 30 years. She knows everyone in town, remembers everyone's names and usually what they bought last time. "Morning, Hank," she says. "How you doing?" "Can't complain," he says, which is his standard answer. "You?" Same old, same old. Weather's supposed to be nice this week." "Good fishing weather. Is there any other kind?" She laughs, scanning his items, and he smiles because it's an old joke between them. The total is $47.83. He pays in cash, getting bills from his wallet. He doesn't trust credit cards. Never has. Jenny counts out his change with practiced efficiency, and he pockets it. "See you next week," she says. "See you next week," he confirms. Outside, the day has warmed up. It's going to be hot later, one of those August days where the air feels thick and everything moves slowly. He loads the groceries into the truck, making sure the cold items are in the cooler he brought for that purpose. Then, on impulse, he walks down the street to the diner. The bell above the door jingles as he enters. The place is half full, mostly older men sitting at tables, coffee cups in front of them. A few look up and nod at Hank, and he nods back. He takes a seat at the counter, and Diane, the waitress who's been here forever, comes over with a pot of coffee. "Hank Coleman," she says warmly. "Haven't seen you in a while." "Been a couple weeks," he admits. "I'll take a cup." She pours without asking, and he was right. The coffee is terrible, burnt and bitter. But there's something comforting about it anyway, about the familiar awfulness of it. "You eating?" Diane asks. He shouldn't. He already had breakfast. But he says, "Piece of pie, if you've got it." "Apple, cherry, or chocolate cream?" "Apple." She brings it a minute later, a generous slice with a flaky crust and filling that's more sweet than tart. He eats it slowly, savoring each bite, drinking the terrible coffee between bites. Around him, the conversations of the other men wash over him like a familiar river. They're talking about the high school football team, about whether old Ed Morrison's barn will make it through another winter, about the drought that's been threatening but hasn't arrived. One of the men, Frank Peterson, comes over and sits on the stool next to Hank. "How you been?" Frank asks. "Good. You?" "Can't complain." Frank orders coffee from Diane, then turns back to Hank. "Still going down to the lake every night?" "Every night the weather allows." "Catching anything?" "Now and then. Got a nice bass yesterday evening." Frank nods. He used to fish too, but his arthritis got too bad, hands too stiff to work the reel. Now he mostly stays home, watches TV, complains about his ailments to anyone who'll listen. "Martha would be glad you kept that up," Frank says. "The fishing, I mean. She always said it was good for you." "She was right about most things," Hank says quietly. They sit in comfortable silence for a while, drinking their coffee. Then Frank says, "My daughter wants me to move in with her, down in Phoenix." "You thinking about it?" "I don't know. It's hot as hell down there. And what would I do? Sit in her air-conditioned house all day? You'd be closer to family. I'd be further from everything else. All my friends are here. This is home, you know." Hank knows. He understands exactly what Frank means. Home isn't just a place. It's the accumulation of a life lived in that place. It's the familiarity, the history, the sense of belonging. "Stay as long as you can," Hank says. "There'll be time enough for moving when you have to." Frank seems relieved to hear this, as if he needed permission to want to stay. They talk a while longer about nothing important, the way old friends do, and then Frank heads back to his table and Hank finishes his pie. At the register, he pays for the pie and coffee, leaves a generous tip for Diane. The morning has passed into late morning now, and he needs to get home before the milk in the cooler gets too warm. The drive back is peaceful, the truck's air conditioning working hard against the rising heat. He passes the same landmarks in reverse: the horse in the field, the trailers, the farms. His driveway appears, a graveled track leading up through the trees, and he turns in, the truck's tires crunching on the gravel. The house welcomes him back cool and dim after the bright sunlight outside. He unloads the groceries, puts everything away in its proper place. The refrigerator is organized with precision, milk on the top shelf, meat in the drawer, vegetables in the crisper. He's learned to keep things orderly, has learned that order creates peace. With the groceries put away, the day stretches before him. This is the question of retirement. He's learned how to fill the hours in a way that feels meaningful. Some people struggle with it, become lost without the structure of work. But Hank has found his rhythm. There's always something that needs doing, always something to tend. Today, it's the garden. He changes back into his work clothes, old jeans and a t-shirt, and heads out into the warm afternoon. The sun is high now, the light strong and direct. He puts on his wide-brimmed straw hat, the one that makes him look like a farmer, which in a sense he is. The tomato plants need staking. The fruit is getting heavy, pulling the plants down, and if he doesn't support them, they'll break. He has a collection of wooden stakes, cut from saplings and saved from year to year, and he pushes them into the earth beside each plant, then ties the main stems to the stakes with soft twine. His hands know the work, moving with practiced efficiency. The beans are ready for picking, fat green pods hanging from the vines. He moves down the row, filling a basket with beans, selecting the ones that are just right. Not too small, not too large. These beans will be his dinner tonight, simply steamed with butter and salt. There's nothing better than vegetables eaten the same day they're picked, still tasting of sun and earth. A toad hops out from under a tomato plant, startled by his presence. It's a good-sized toad, brown and warty, with golden eyes. Hank is glad to see it. Toads eat insects, helping to keep the garden healthy. He watches it hop away toward the shade of the squash plants, where it disappears into the large leaves. The work is hot, and sweat runs down his back. But it's a good feeling, the feeling of his body working, of accomplishing something tangible. He weeds around the plants, pulling up the invasive grass and dandelions that are always trying to claim territory. The weeds go into a bucket to be composted, nothing wasted. An hour passes, maybe more. Time has that quality again, the quality of being immeasurable, unimportant. The sun moves across the sky. Shadows shift. A hawk circles overhead, riding the thermal currents, searching for mice in the field beyond the garden. Finally, he straightens, feeling his back protest, and surveys the garden. It looks good, tidy, and healthy. The stakes support the tomatoes. The bean vines are cleared of their ripe pods. The weeds are gone. There's satisfaction in this, the satisfaction of caretaking, of helping things grow. He carries the basket of beans inside and washes them in the sink, the water running cool over his hot hands. He'll cook them later, closer to dinner time. For now, he leaves them in a colander to drain and goes to take a shower. The water is cool and wonderful, washing away the sweat and dirt and heat. He stands under it longer than necessary, just enjoying the sensation, the simple luxury of abundant, clean water. When he finally turns it off and towels dry, he feels renewed, ready for the afternoon ahead. Dressed in clean clothes, he makes himself a sandwich for lunch, leftover meatloaf, lettuce from the garden, mustard, and eats it standing at the counter, looking out the window toward the lake. He can't see the water from here, but he knows it's there, constant and patient, waiting for evening. After lunch, he settles on the couch with the library book about the Great Lakes. He finds his place and begins to read, learning about the glaciers that carved these enormous basins, about the water that filled them when the ice retreated. The scale of it is hard to comprehend. Ice sheets miles thick, moving with inexorable slowness, grinding down rock, creating valleys and lakes that would last for millennia. His own small lake is connected to this larger story, part of the watershed that eventually drains into the Great Lakes, and from there to the Atlantic Ocean. The water in Mirror Lake is temporary, just passing through, moving from sky to lake, to river, to ocean in an endless cycle. Nothing is permanent, he thinks, except the cycle itself. His eyes grow heavy as he reads. The afternoon sun streaming through the window is warm on his face. The house is quiet except for the ticking clock and the occasional creak of settling wood. His breathing slows, deepens, and without meaning to, he falls asleep, the book resting open on his chest. He dreams again, but differently this time. He's not on the dock, but in the water, swimming with strong, easy strokes. The water is warm and clear, and he can breathe it like air. Fish swim around him, curious but unafraid. He dives deeper, seeing the bottom covered with that underwater forest of waving plants. In the dream, he understands something important, something about connection and cycle, and the way everything is part of everything else. The water is in him, and he is in the water. The fish are his brothers. The plants are his cousins. They're all made of the same stuff, all participating in the same great living system. He wakes slowly, peacefully, the dream fading, but its feeling remaining. The book has slipped to the side, and he carefully marks his place and sets it on the coffee table. The afternoon has passed into late afternoon, the light softer now, beginning its daily transformation toward evening gold. He makes tea, a habit he picked up from Martha. She always said that tea in the afternoon was one of life's great civilized pleasures, a pause between the day's work and the evening's rest. He uses loose-leaf tea, Earl Grey, brewing it properly in a pot and letting it steep for exactly 4 minutes. The ritual is soothing, each step deliberate and careful. With his tea, he sits in Martha's chair for the first time in months. It feels strange at first, almost transgressive, but then it feels right. The chair is comfortable, molded to a human body, and the view from it is slightly different than from the couch. He can see more of the garden, can see the bird feeder hanging from the maple tree. As he watches, a cardinal comes to the feeder, brilliant red against the green leaves. It feeds carefully, selecting seeds, cracking them in its strong beak. A female cardinal joins it, drab brown but beautiful in her own way. They feed together, comfortable with each other, a mated pair that will stay together for life. Watching them, Hank feels something loosen in his chest, some tight knot of grief that's been there for 3 years. Martha wouldn't want him to avoid her chair, to treat her belongings like sacred relics that can't be touched. She'd want him to use them, to take comfort from them, to live fully in the house they shared. "Thank you," he says aloud, to her, to the house, to the afternoon light, and the cardinals, and the tea. "Thank you for everything." The words hang in the quiet air, and though there's no answer, he feels answered somehow. The house seems to sigh around him, settling more deeply into its foundations, and outside, the cardinals fly away Together, two birds moving as one. The afternoon slides into early evening, and Hank feels the familiar pull toward the dock. It's time. It's always time at this hour, his body and mind attuned to the rhythm of the day, knowing when the sun is approaching the hills, when the fish will begin their evening feeding. He prepares the green beans for dinner, trimming their ends, putting them in a pot with water and a pinch of salt, ready to cook when he returns from fishing. The chicken breast is seasoned and ready for the skillet. Everything is prepared. Everything is in order. In the bedroom, he changes into his fishing clothes, the comfortable jeans, the long-sleeved shirt that protects against sun and mosquitoes, the sneakers with good traction. He moves through these preparations with the ease of long practice, each action flowing into the next, the tackle box, the rod, the canvas chair. He gathers them from their places on the porch and begins the walk. The path through the garden, past the staked tomatoes and the bean poles. The path through the birch grove, where the late afternoon light makes the white bark seem luminous. The path opening onto the lake shore, where the dock stretches out into the waiting water. Everything is as it should be. The water is calm, reflecting the blue sky and the white clouds that drift like thoughts. A light breeze stirs the surface into tiny wavelets that catch the light and sparkle. Somewhere across the lake, a loon calls, its voice wild and ancient, a sound that humans have been hearing for thousands of years. Hank sets up his chair, opens his tackle box, selects his lure. Today, he chooses one of his father's hand-carved ones, a small wooden minnow painted silver and black. It's old, the paint chipped in places, but it still swims beautifully through the water, wobbling in that way that drives Bass crazy. He ties it on with the familiar knot, his fingers moving through the pattern without thought. The knot tightens and holds. He tests it with a firm pull, and it's solid, secure. Everything is ready. The first cast is always special, the moment of beginning, of possibility. The lure flies out over the water, trailing the line behind it in a graceful arc. It lands with its gentle splash, and the ripples spread in perfect circles, growing wider and fainter until they disappear and the water returns to calm. He reels slowly, feeling the lure swim through the water, imagining how it looks to the fish below. A small silver shape wobbling past, easy prey, irresistible. The line comes tight as he reels, and there's the familiar slight resistance of the lure's motion through water, and the feel is right. Everything is working properly. No strike on this cast. That's fine. The evening is young, and patience is part of the practice. He casts again and again, establishing the rhythm. Cast and retrieve, cast and retrieve. His breathing syncs with the motion, becoming slow and deep, and his mind begins to quiet, thoughts falling away, like leaves falling from a tree in autumn. The sun drops lower, approaching the hills. The light begins to warm and soften. Shadows lengthen across the water. This is the time, the hour when the world transitions from day to night, when boundaries blur and magic becomes possible. A school of minnows passes near the dock, perhaps 100 of them, moving as one organism, turning simultaneously in flashes of silver. They're being chased by something larger, a pike, maybe, or a big bass. The water swirls where the predator moves beneath. And then the minnows are gone, scattered, and the water settles again. Hank casts toward where the minnows disappeared. If there's a predator fish there, it might be hungry enough to strike at his lure. The wooden minnow lands in the right spot and begins its wobbling retrieve. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Then a tremendous strike, the rod tip bending down sharply, the reel screaming as line is taken. This is a big fish, bigger than last night's base. It runs deep and strong, taking line in long pulls. Hank holds the rod high, keeping tension, letting the fish run, but maintaining that essential connection. The line cuts through the water, leaving a wake, and he can track the fish's movement by watching the line. It runs left, and he follows with the rod. It dives, and he feels the heavy pressure of its weight and strength. His arms are already tired. This will be a battle. But he settles in, finding his rhythm, letting the rod absorb the shock of the fish's movements. Minutes pass. The fish doesn't give up, doesn't tire quickly. This is a worthy opponent, something special. Hank's heart is beating faster, and he's smiling without realizing it. This is what fishing can be at its best, a pure contest, human and fish connected by a thin line, each testing the other. Gradually, inevitably, the fish tires. The runs become shorter, the pull becomes less insistent. Hank gains line with each turn of the reel, bringing the fish slowly, carefully toward the surface. He can see it now, deep in the water, a dark shape rising, growing larger as it approaches. And then it breaks the surface in a tremendous leap, and Hank sees it clearly. Not a bass at all, but a northern pike, maybe 5 pounds, maybe more, with those characteristic teeth and that torpedo-shaped body. It twists in the air, water flying from its flanks, the lure visible in the corner of its mouth. And then it crashes back down with a splash that sends ripples across the calm surface. The line is still tight. The pike didn't throw the hook. Hank keeps the pressure on, keeps reeling, and the fish comes closer. It makes one more run, shorter now, weaker, and then it's beside the dock, exhausted, its gills working rapidly. Hank leans down carefully and grips the pike's body just behind its head. Pike teeth are razor sharp, and he's careful to avoid them. He lifts the fish from the water, supporting its weight with his other hand, and brings it up to examine. It's magnificent. The body is spotted with white ovals on a dark green background, camouflage that makes it nearly invisible in weedy water. The eye is large and golden and fierce. The teeth, visible even with the mouth closed, are numerous and sharp. This is a predator, perfectly designed by millions of years of evolution for one purpose: hunting. The lure is hooked shallowly, easy to remove. Hank works it free carefully, and the pike thrashes weakly in his hands, still fighting even in exhaustion. He respects this fight, respects the fish's refusal to give up. He lowers it back to the water, holding it upright, letting oxygen-rich water flow through its gills. The pike is still for a moment, gathering strength, and then, with a powerful thrust of its tail, it darts away into the depths, leaving only a swirl in the water to mark its passage. Hank sits back, breathing hard, his arms trembling slightly from the exertion. That was a good fish, maybe the best of the year. He'll remember this one, add it to the collection of memories that he carries. 5 pounds of pure wildness held briefly in his hands, then released back to its mysterious life beneath the surface. The sun is touching the hilltops now, beginning its nightly disappearance. The sky has turned the colors of fire, orange and pink and deep red, reflected in the water so that earth and sky seem to meet and merge. The day is ending in glory, and Hank sits in his chair and simply watches, his rod forgotten, the fishing forgotten, everything forgotten except this moment of beauty. A great blue heron flies over, heading for its roost. Its wingspan is enormous, and it flies with slow, powerful beats, prehistoric and timeless. Its reflection follows it across the water, a dark twin moving through the reflected fire of the sunset sky. The light fades slowly, as if reluctant to go. The fire colors cool to pink, and the pink fades to purple, and the purple darkens toward blue. Venus appears in the west, following the sun down. The first real stars emerge in the east. The world transitions from day to night, and Hank witnesses it all, present for every moment, grateful for every second. When it's finally too dark to fish, he reels in one last time and packs up his gear. The walk back to the house is peaceful, his body tired in that good way that comes from honest exertion. The path is darker now, but his feet still know every step. The birch trees are pale ghosts. The garden is a dark rectangle full of growing things. The house on the hill glows with the light he left burning. Inside, he cooks his simple dinner, the chicken seared in a skillet, the green beans steamed perfectly, both served on a single plate with a glass of water. He eats at the table, looking out at the darkness, satisfied and content. After dinner, he washes the dishes, wipes the counters, performs all the small rituals of evening. He reads for a while, something light and pleasant, a novel set in a time when things seemed simpler, though he knows they probably weren't. At 9 o'clock, he makes his rounds, checking the doors, setting the thermostat, turning off lights. In bed, the sheets are cool and welcoming. His body sinks into the mattress, every muscle releasing. Through the window, he can see stars, thousands of them, the Milky Way a pale river across the sky. He thinks about the pike, its fierce golden eye, its powerful body. He thinks about the sunset, the sky full of fire. He thinks about Martha, always Martha, her presence felt even in her absence. His eyes close. His breathing deepens. Sleep approaches like a gentle tide, and he welcomes it. Tomorrow there will be another day, another evening, another walk to the dock. The lake will be there, patient and eternal, waiting for him. The fish will swim in their underwater world. The sun will set in glory. The cycle will continue, as it always has, as it always will. And Hank Coleman, Evening Fisherman, keeper of rituals, tender of gardens, guardian of memories, will be part of it all, connected to everything through the thin line between land and water, between day and night, between past and present, between grief and peace. The room darkens, the stars watch, the night holds him gently, and Hank sleeps, dreaming of water, dreaming of light, dreaming of love that doesn't end, but only changes form, like water cycling from lake to sky to rain to lake again, eternal and unbroken.